In this video, I'm going to explain one of the worst possible moments in my life and how I learned to heal. I'm Dewan Williams, and earlier this year, I went through what I thought was the worst possible moment in my life, a breakup. We've all been through it, and it's a part of life, but in the moment, it felt like the end of the world. It felt like a piece of me had been ripped away. But over these 8 months, I learned to forgive the person, myself, move on from the situation, and heal. Today, I want to share what I went through, what I learned, and how I'm navigating dating as a bisexual male in 2023. So, embracing my newfound sexuality, I decided to try online dating. I met this boy, we're gonna call him Jake, and we hit it off very well. Conversation and communication is a big thing for me. So to see that he had such good communication, such good conversation, I enjoy talking to him. I enjoy wanting to continue our conversation, whether it was over the phone or in person or even over text. I knew that I wanted to pursue this person further. Jake had recently broke up with his girlfriend, and by that I mean he was dumped by his girlfriend on Christmas Day and kicked out of the home that they shared together. So it was around January or February when we met, so it was still fresh on his mind, this breakup. This was a long-term relationship and possibly something that he didn't get over or didn't fully heal from, and should have been all 3 red flags for me to walk away from. We conversated. I told him up front what I did for work and that I was traveling out of the state and I was going to be going to a few different states, but that I was very interested in wanting to plan a date and that as soon as I got back, we could go anywhere, anytime, any place. So we conversated mostly via text because he worked and I worked, and we tried our best just to fit each other into our schedules, and it was great. It was great getting to know him. It was great that he had an interest in getting to know me and wanting to understand how I operate my businesses, how I just navigate life. It was intriguing that he was intrigued by me. That was short-lived. Maybe a week after us talking, he just went ghost, and I should have taken that as a sign to just leave it alone, that maybe he was not ready. He was fresh out of a long-term relationship, and that was something that maybe that I should have never tried to tackle. I was a little frustrated by it because the communication had been so good up until that point. I was just wondering what happened, what caused that break. He explained that it wasn't anything that I did, it wasn't anything that I said, it was just that maybe he jumped into this quicker than he thought. And I said, okay, I actually feel better that he wanted to share that with me. It took a couple of days, and of course I wasn't going to reach out first. I just backed off, but that made me feel good that at least he was honest. I didn't like how initially he just went ghost, but I appreciated that he came around and was honest. So I went about my way. I couldn't compete with that. I honestly didn't want to take on the burden, and I didn't think that he would even want someone to, fight for, whatever type of, relationship that we had or were going to have. It seemed like what he needed was a break. And honestly, I wanted someone who was 100% certain that they wanted to date me, and had no baggage and no damage from previous relationship. So I was fine with how things ended. A few weeks later, he added me on Snapchat and he said hi and he wanted to know how I was doing. I was just thinking that this was going to be some just small pleasantries. We were going to say hi, how we were doing, and that was going to be it. But he wanted to explain briefly that he thought that he was not ready for a relationship at that time, even though it was only a few weeks prior, but that he was ready to start talking to someone and he really enjoyed our conversation and he was very interested in getting to know me. At this point, thinking now, I should have just politely declined and said that I don't think that you're over this relationship. This was a very serious relationship. You guys dated for years. You guys lived together. You were the one who were dumped, so there's still feelings there. There's still closure needed. There's still brokenness inside you. Maybe you shouldn't enter a relationship or want to engage in a relationship with someone just a mere 2 months later. But I didn't. I didn't do any of that. I didn't say any of that. I welcomed him back with open arms. We kind of just fast-tracked everything after that point. We went on multiple dates. We had sleepovers. We met each other's families. We were, kind of just hot and heavy for the next 2 months. There wasn't a moment we didn't speak, and every weekend or every time he was off, we would plan a date or we would plan a sleepover. Sometimes he would sleep over multiple days at my place, and we would just do, just things like watch movies, or we found a TV show to watch together. We were just imitating this relationship. Although he had explained that he wasn't ready to enter a relationship. He just wanted to kind of take things slow. We were doing things that imitated a relationship, but we didn't have those titles. We didn't have that comfortability of saying, this is my partner, this is my boyfriend, this is, whoever. We didn't have that. And maybe that should have been another red flag, that he was so unwilling to commit. But I was enjoying his company. I was enjoying his company so much that I planned a trip for us to go out of the state. He had never been to a theme park before. He had a troubled childhood and just never really got a chance to enjoy his childhood. So I thought that we could go to Florida and go to the fun spot in Universal Studios. I had just came back from a trip there and it was so fun, and I wanted him to experience that same level of joy that I felt even as a 23-year-old male. I enjoyed myself. It was a lot of walking, too much walking, but overall I enjoyed myself, and I thought that it would be a fun date, / weekend getaway for us. He said that he was getting 4 days off of work, so I just started to start planning. I didn't tell him. I was going to tell him, but I wanted to just kind of surprise him as much as I can. So when we got to 2 days before the weekend, I realized that I was taking all of his days off and that he wasn't going to get another day off for at least 2 weeks. And I had been speaking to his sister, and they really didn't get a chance to spend too much time together. And she really wanted to spend time with her brother. So I was like, okay, I know that I could fit everything that we needed to do in just 2 days. So why not give him a day or so with his family, with his sister, so that they could have a little bit of time together. That way, I'm kind of the bad guy for just pulling him away. So I texted him and I was like, hey, I think that instead of you, because I told him that we were going to spend all 4 days at my house. So I said, instead of spending all 4 days here, how about we do 2 days here, and then we do something with your sister and her boyfriend. It could be anything. It took him a few hours, which that wasn't unusual. He really wasn't the biggest person. He wasn't the biggest texter. So that wasn't alarming. But the situation that led to us not being together anymore happened that night. When he texted back, he agreed that he take the 2 days to spend with his sister and her boyfriend, because they had something planned that was going to take at least a day. So I was like, okay, cool, that's great. What do you guys have planned? Because we always asked each other what we were doing and stuff like that, so I didn't think it was out of the ordinary to ask. And I wanted to make sure that the days that he wanted to take off didn't conflict with the days that we were going to Florida. So he told me the days that he was going to divide, and he said that his sister's boyfriend found this guy that sold them mushrooms, and that they were going to experiment with the mushrooms, and that the trip normally lasts for a few hours, but they were just going to take the entire day because it was something that he had never done before, but that his sister and her boyfriend had, so they just, I guess, wanted to marinate in it. I am not a drug user, so I didn't really understand it and, get it. So, in that moment, I was a bit taken back, if I was honest, and just a bit hurt, I guess, because it felt like I was being lied to. I explained that I am 420 friendly. I know people, smoke cannabis and, sometimes cigarettes and stuff. And while I don't like it around me and on my clothes, I know that majority of the world does it. So it's not something that you could just... My camera died, sorry. But what I said in my last clip was that I was very 420 friendly, cigarette friendly, alcohol friendly. It's something that I don't personally partake in, but it's something that I'm not going to discourage other people from partaking in. That rubs me the wrong way. And this is something that may have been my fault. I have been told mixed things when I tell the story, but those first thoughts when he told me that he was going to take a day to do mushrooms with his family was like, okay, am I coming second to drugs? Because I know that both of his parents had problems, and they had ongoing problems with substance abuse. So it also scared me, but making it more personal, more selfish, it felt like I was coming second to drugs. What I thought was I was doing the right thing by letting him have that family time, but he was already taking that time away. And, it didn't seem like he was just going to tell me. He was just going to do it, and, whatever happened because of it, happened because of it. So I felt some type of way, and I'm new to dating, new to wanting to be in a relationship with a man. So I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. So there are, of course, mistakes that are made on my part, things that I could have done better, things I could have said, and things that I could have refrained from saying in, that situation. But I felt in that moment like I was coming second to drugs. I didn't like that feeling. So I said, well, how about you take the entire weekend, because it feels like our plans have been moved to the back burner, and it just made me feel some type of way because it felt like I was coming second. Now that may not be the case, but that's how it felt. So I did with what any other irrational person would do in that situation. I broke things off. I talked about it with my family, with a few friends, and they said that honestly, while your thought process on the situation may not be completely valid, the problem is this could become a huge problem. If his family has history of substance abuse, and him not wanting to follow down the footsteps of his parents and like his sister, and then now starting to experiment with drugs to quote unquote find himself, this may become a problem that may be too much on a new and fragile relationship. So, in our opinion, we think you should end things. So that's what I did. I'm not gonna lie, I missed him. And over that next week and stuff, I tried to figure out his understanding, and I even said that, could I pay you not to do it? Could I, buy the drugs from you or your portion of the drugs and just discard them? Like, what can we do to kind of compromise here? And he wasn't willing to not do the mushrooms, and I was kind of firm on my stance. So he felt like that the decision that I made should stand, and that we should be broken up, or not talking anymore. And that devastated me, because we went from having an open and honest communication and conversation about everything to him just shutting me out, not hearing my side of the story, not hearing my concerns and my frustrations with the situation, just not wanting to hear my side of the story. He later explained that he didn't know how to process something as serious and emotional as that. It was a problem that he had in his past relationship, and which led to his girlfriend giving up on the relationship entirely. Nonetheless, that broke me. I kept reaching out. I kept trying to just find any way just to make myself just lose any moral compass and just accept it and move on. He explained there was going to be a one-time thing. It, of course, didn't end up being a one-time thing, but I just wanted to believe that. I was trying to make myself believe that. I just wanted to move forward. I really and truly didn't want to let this person go. I don't want to let this person out of my life. But no matter how much I tried to reason with him, to understand him, to voice my concerns, to just finally getting to the place where it didn't matter, do it, have fun, let's move past it. No matter what decision I tried to bring myself to, he shut me out on every single avenue, which, reflecting now, some of the things that I said would have caused even me to shut down and, not want to be as communicative as I normally would, not want to hear reasoning or understanding or concerns. I would just shut down if someone said the things that I said to him, to me. So reflecting on that now, I understand how my opinion should have never been just barfed up on him. It should have never been, my way or the highway. It should have been actual compromisation, not making your stance, breaking off things, and then trying to come back and compromise. I feel like that situation could have been handled 100% better, but nonetheless, in that time, I felt like I was going through an actual breakup. I was in bed 24/7. I wasn't working my businesses. I wasn't going to school. I wasn't eating. I lost a bunch of weight. People started to notice. I only processed good memories of the situation when there was just as much bad, but I was processing this as a breakup. So this hurt. It's made me want to crawl inside my covers and never get out. In the end, I was the only one who was putting in effort. I apologized numerous times for my comments and stuff like that. Not saying that he had to accept it and we have to rekindle things, but I seen the error of my ways. It didn't take me a long time to do so. My opinion should have never been, brought into the equation. But in the end, I realized I was the only one putting in effort. He had already said he just wanted to be friends. And I just kept wanting to go down that rabbit hole. I kept trying and trying and trying. And every time I would get that no, that band-aid would just be ripped off again, and I would just be back in that moment, in that state of hurt. And that just kept happening. It kept happening for months, just constantly just going through it. It was like I was constantly getting broken up again. That's how my heart took it. That's how my mind took it. That's how I processed it. Every time I got that no, it just hurt all over again. And I realized at the end of the day, no one was caring about my feelings. I wasn't even caring about my feelings. I was so worried about his and the situation and trying to fix it. I realized that I was drowning inside myself, and I needed to stop repeating the same cycle and get out so that I can heal. I constantly delayed the process of healing by opening the wound over and over again, waiting a week, reaching out, saying, hey, having a conversation, and then saying, hey, can we try to rekindle things? And just that cycle just kept happening and happening and happening until finally I was just so broken on the inside. I didn't want to feel that way ever again. And I knew that I had to put myself first. In my findings, there was 3 steps that was a for sure way to be on the mend and to heal yourself from breakup. Stage 1 was grievance. Stage 2 was acceptance. And the final stage was metamorphosis. In your first stage, you're going to start to feel the absence. That's how you know you are in the grievance stage. You have doubt. We are meant to be together. This is just a minor setback. Who am I without this person? You're having an identity crisis. You are constantly feeling this absence and wanting to feel it as soon as possible. In this stage, you need to realize that if you ever want to rekindle something with this person, if this person is truly meant to be, that you guys both need time in the grievance stage. You guys need time apart. You need to cry, allow yourself to feel. This stage took me about 2 months. After constantly, peeling off that band-aid and opening up that wound, entering the grievance stage was hard because I was actually now realizing that this absence is going to be permanent. He messaged out the blue and just said that he is bisexual, but he's only sexually attracted to men. He doesn't feel like he can ever love a man, be in a relationship with a man. So that made me realize that this absence is permanent. No matter how much time apart, no matter how much you cry or feel the absence or, grieve, you are in this grievance stage. There is never going to be a rekindlement. So I knew after 2 months that I had to move on and I had to enter stage 2, which was acceptance. For so long, I just wanted to be in my bed. I started to do small things like work and finish out my semester in school, but in the end, I just wanted to be back in my bed, underneath my covers, TV off, lights off, in the dark. Entering stage 2, acceptance, I did a lot of journaling. It was very helpful for me because as a writer, I'm better putting my words on paper, kind of making something come to life on paper. So journaling and doing journal entries every day was something that was very therapeutic for me. It helped me take the feelings that was inside my heart and put them on paper and just do away with them. The next thing that I did inside this acceptance period was write a letter to my ex. I wrote a 10-page paper. I didn't send it, but speaking to this person unapologetically, uninterrupted, just pouring out your whole soul helps you accept and move into your last stage. Stage 2, acceptance, wouldn't be anything without accepting the fact that it was not meant to be. You have to accept that so that you could heal, so that that wound can crust over and you can heal. Getting back out there with friends and family and doing more activities. You don't have to jump right back into dating. You may not be nowhere near ready, no matter if it was a situationship, a relationship, a talking stage, whatever. You may not be ready to try to date other people, but you can get out and do things with your friends and let them embrace you and feel their love and feel their energy and feed off of it. The last stage was metamorphosis. I think of this as a reinvention. Of course, after every breakup, you don't have to reinvent yourself, get a new wardrobe, get a new hairstyle, everything. But you are now shedding who you were with this person, and you are accepting the healing so that you can be whole for someone else. So now in this process, it's time to focus on you. What I did to focus on myself is more healthcare days, more self-care days. I did small things like, giving myself a manicure or going to get my hair cut, doing a facial, just focused on self-care, buying new products for my face and my skin, just giving that uninterrupted time to myself. I also started to make new connections, and I'm in the metamorphosis stage now, 8 months later. I am starting to make new connections, go out and do my hobbies again, try to find new hobbies, and just revitalize who I am. In this stage, I had to realize that you are whole on your own. You don't need anyone to complete you. You are whole on your own. For my LGBTQ, Grindr will not give you validation, not the validation that you need. You can only give yourself that. If you want to have fun and you are wanting to be sexually active, Grindr's the place for you. But if you're recently out of a breakup and you're looking to just find someone to just crawl under or on top or whatever, that won't give you validation, and that could interrupt your metamorphosis stage. And the last thing, it is okay to not be okay. Even in this stage, you are reinventing yourself, revitalizing yourself, breathing new life into yourself, but you're still going to have those periods where it's okay not to be okay. And that's just a part of the healing process. That doesn't mean that it's not working or you're backtracking stages. It just means that it's actually working, and soon you will be okay. But until then, it's okay to not be okay. My personal recommendations, and this is what I didn't follow even back then, is deleting all photos. Photos you took of them, photos you took together. Delete them from your contacts, your socials. Don't try to conjure up a friendship. Just a complete break. I detailed the story of me and Jake for a Wattpad exclusive that I will be linking down below. If you guys want to know more about the story, more about my thought process outside of wanting to heal after a breakup, please read my new book, A Match Made in Hell, exclusively on Wattpad this winter. This book also will be available for digital download on my website, and I'll also link that down below as well. Dating in 2023 is hard enough, so don't be hard on yourself. Your person is out there, and they won't make you feel unsure, unwanted, unloved, uncertain. They won't judge you for trying to better yourself and for making honest human mistakes. They won't cower, run, unadd you on Snapchat, block you. You won't want them more than they want you. Happy dating, beautiful people. And if anyone has a brother that fits these descriptions, or honestly just breathes, tell them to hit me up. I mean, that's kind of a joke, but not really. Bye.